Hi guys! Hitting my hand. Welcome back to the Girls Group podcast.
Welcome. We're so happy you're here. In this episode, we're going to be talking about
forgiveness
and restoration. Part 2.
Part 2.
What has the Lord taught you about forgiveness, restoration in our friendship, in friendships you've had, other friendships?
I think one main thing that the Lord has really taught me about forgiveness and restoration in friendships is that it's just not about you. A lot of the time, it's always believing that the person has your best interest at heart and that nothing is ever personal. If someone does something to upset you, think about the way you can respond that can maybe diffuse the situation. Not to say that you're never going to be in the wrong or you're never going to be in the right. It's actually bigger than that. It's higher than that. The main thing, and should always lead us to restoration and forgiveness, is the fact that the ultimate price for our sins was paid, and we actually didn't have any entitlement. We were entitled death. That was what our entitlement. That was our future. But restoration happened on the cross thousands of years ago, and we were forgiven. So I feel like that should always be the foundation of restoration and forgiveness, because that was literally what happened at the beginning.
Yeah.
That's
so true. And not taking everything so personally and making everything about you, saying that, oh, this person looked at me weird. Well, actually, maybe they're just having a horrible, horrible week or a horrible day, and that is coming across on their face. Maybe it's literally nothing to do with you. So trying as much as possible to not centralize ourselves in the lives of other people and just allowing them their complexity and nuance.
Oh my goodness, that's so true. Because a lot of people just have resting faces. I didn't even know mine was that bad until recently when my friend filmed me and it looked like I hated the person who was talking. But
and you went viral.
I did. I went viral. For the wrong reasons. Just can it just be something to do with my career? But, yeah. So you just never know. I was not thinking anything at all, but my face was just showing something else.
I feel like we would say our friendship has walked through a lot of different seasons in terms of forgiving one another and going on that journey of, oh wait, I actually don't understand why you did this. I don't agree with that at all, but still I want to show up and love you well. And I think even that whole thing of showing up, loving someone well, it's really, really hard. And I think it's something that is entirely motivated by Jesus, because I wouldn't say that I have a grasp on what it means to love people well in my understanding. But I think the center of our friendship being him, the center being Jesus, we love you and we want to honor you with our conduct. We want to honor you with the way we treat one another. Well, when you do something that annoys me and frustrates me, I am like, no, but this is your daughter. So how am I going to treat her like that? And actually move beyond myself and my own perspective and not seek so much to be understood, but to understand.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
It is hard.
I, a couple of months ago, had a realization that I'd kind of put a cap on the Lord's restoration in terms of what that could look like. And I quickly realized that I was like, Lord, I know that you can make beauty out of ashes in here, but I don't believe it in my heart. And I'd kind of just thinking that, oh, there's a certain brokenness that you can heal. It's broken, but not.
Yeah.
And I think the Lord is really taking me on a journey of showing me that no, it's rubble, it's tatters, it's when there's nothing left. I can restore that too. I can restore at every stage, but I can restore that too. And I have been really realizing wow, Lord, you genuinely cannot heal what I hide from you. So allowing you into every single area of my hurt, every single area of a situation that seems broken, that's how you have room to breathe life into it and restore it. but it's hard and it's really vulnerable and it's really uncomfortable, because I found myself in places with the Lord like, oh, like this is painful, like this is bringing up things for me that I actually don't want to think about, I don't want to talk about. But I guess that's the beauty of the health journey. Like he invites us into partnership with him to be renewed and purified even when it's hard. But he's so patient, because I would have times with the Lord, you know, those days when you go and pray but you don't say anything, you just sit, you just kind of like sit with him, and you're like, I just have nothing to say, like I'm too tired or I'm too sad or I feel, so I'm just gonna stay here with you and be with you. But and as you're with him, then you know things start happening. But it's like even those days. And what I find so interesting is I am realizing more and more how vast the love of God is and how beyond comprehension it is. And every time I think I've kind of got a semblance or a grasp on it, I realize I don't. I'm learning how to have a broken spirit before him and allowing his power to be made perfect there. But it's really uncomfy. It's growing though.
Yeah.
It's stretching.
She's growing.
I'm growing.
Yeah, just on that as well, like you can't experience restoration without brokenness. There needs to be something to restore. And there is nothing too broken for the Lord to restore. I mean, when you think about the woman with the issue of blood, you think about the woman who poured out all her oil, you think about the woman who was at the well. Like there's just so many examples in the Bible of God bringing broken people and broken things into restoration. And when we look at our own lives, and I look at my own life, and I just think, wow, I was very broken, you know, like even coming from a home that with my dad not really being in the picture, and kind of my view on men being very like it was almost like a foreign land for me. It wasn't something that I had seen or experienced. I'd never really experienced what it looks like to have a healthy dynamic of romantic love. And so being in it now has opened so many, like, I guess, doors in my mind of like, oh, this is what my future could look like. Or, oh, this is what relationship with Jesus is like. Because I feel like when you're in a relationship that honors God, it just reminds you of Christ pursuing the church. And it just reminds you of this is the actual, like this is what God had designed for us to have. Like this is it. Like, and the feeling is just like you're on a different earth. Like you're on a different, like you're just not, like anything can happen and you're just good.
Yeah.
Because of this kind of like, I can't explain the feeling. It's like a euphoric land. Euphoric land that you just feel so passionately about someone and you just love them with literally all you have. And then when you think of when children get involved in that, something else, you know, like babies.
Babies.
But just to like emphasize, the Lord has really restored my view on that. And I was so broken, guys. Like I was broken. And it's just such a testament to how he is the ultimate restorer.
Yeah. He really does. He restores everything. And I feel like whenever you go through a season that feels like loss, or you lose something, or you're grieving something, whether it's a person or a situation or whatever it is, and there's kind of like you feel broken, and then you're kind of just in this season of like healing, but you're like, Lord, I trust you. Lord, I love you. Lord, I trust you. Lord, I love you. Even when you don't feel it, you're just, Lord, I trust you. Lord, I love you. And then like it gets easier to say, you're not crying about it anymore. Like your hands are up, like, Lord, I trust you and I love you. And then he brings or you start seeing the restoration unfold. Like, I feel like for both of us, we're very much living in a season of like restoration in abundance. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Oh.
like no, we're literally like, Lord, you are superseding
Yeah.
every expectation, like every tear, everything, every
Yeah.
thing that I was like, oh Lord, don't take this away from me. It's like, he's like, my daughter, trust me. It's like that picture, you know, that picture, I'm sure everyone's seen it, of like a girl, she has this teddy bear and she really wants it, but then God is holding like a bigger
A
teddy,
bigger teddy
yeah,
bear. Yeah.
you know that one.
I do. It's
He's
very
so
sweet.
good.
And just on that, like, we're not able to experience restoration without forgiveness. Forgiveness is a big part of restoration. If our hearts are hard, we're not even open to the idea of
Yeah.
restoration because we're still clinging on to our brokenness. So I think there is just something on restoration and freedom, and there's something on forgiveness and freedom. And I just want you to like talk about, like, is there a time where you've had to forgive others and forgive yourself to really walk in the fullness of like the freedom that God has called you?
No, do you not have one?
Oh, yeah, I do actually. I would say for me personally, it was more so forgiving myself of being worthy of love. Does that make sense? Forgiving myself
For not thinking that you were
for
worthy of
not
love,
thinking that I
or
was worthy of love.
is that what you meant?
No,
Okay.
I think I just, because I was felt so broken, and meeting someone who just feels like they're just the most perfect person on the planet apart from, well, I can't say that. God is, Jesus is the most perfect. Yeah. But like when I met my boyfriend and I got to know him, immediately I went into comparison zone and I was like, do we actually like can we actually like work? I mean, like, he seems so good and I'm broken, you know, like he seems so healthy. It felt like a mirror. But I realized there was some forgiving that I needed to do for myself. I needed to forgive myself for like almost the way I treated myself, and like the way I would think. I had to really walk in freedom and believe that I was worthy to be pursued and deserved love. So
And
that's
you do.
mine. I do.
God has blessed us with incredible,
Man of God.
it's just the best people.
Thank God.
It's good. Thank God. Yahweh Rapha.
Elohim Shaddai.
Anyway, is there a time where I've had to walk in forgiveness, or I've had to
You've had to
forgive?
forgive either yourself or someone in order to walk in the full freedom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we are all people who live life and we go through things that shape us and shape our outlook and shape our view. And I think I know there was like a point in my life, 2023, 2022, where I wasn't living in health. When you're not allowing the Lord to breathe on things, if you're not allowing him into every area, because I think at that time I was very much like, Lord, you can have all these aspects of my life, but you can't have this, and you can't have this, and you can't have this, and you can't have this. And I remember having this beautiful conversation with one of my friends, Chidera. We love you and we miss you. We miss you so much. And it was actually a couple of weeks before I met my boyfriend. And she was like, you don't know your type. God knows your type. And I was like, oh, jump scare. And I'd realized that I had been focusing on things that were based on my own world view, my own experiences. And I actually hadn't asked the Lord, oh Lord, what do you think is best for me? And would you actually transform my perspective on relationships, so it's more in line with yours, and it's more in line in the qualities that matter to you and the things that matter to you, based on the things that I may have put emphasis on that actually are superficial and don't really mean much. I'm just like that journey of like being honest and real and humbling myself before the Lord and being like, Lord, there is a understanding gap that I don't have in terms of romantic relationships, and there are things that I don't get. Help me. And he's just so good and so kind that I've literally gone on such a tangent. The question was about
about to say, I don't know how we got here, but it's
I know how we got there.
nice.
But backing up to like forgiveness, like forgiving that was such a big thing. Forgiving myself for not moving quicker, for not being like, I'm not sure this is bringing out the best in me or in you. Let me, and that was the thing that took me more than even like forgiving them, because I don't think you can ever blame shift. Two people create a dynamic that exists, so I don't necessarily think it's like one person or another, like you both pour in and you reap what you sow. But definitely forgiving myself for not standing up quicker, standing up because I was sat like a silly little goat.
Oh.
Sat. There is so much freedom that comes with forgiveness, but also like understanding that, Lord, I struggle to forgive, and this is hard. This is horror. It's hard. I don't know what to do. Like, I see things, I start now, all of a sudden, I've had this like feeling inside of me, this like burning anger that is not like love, and I feel it sithering beneath the surface, and it's coming. Help me.
Yeah.
Help me look at this person with love. Help me look at the situation with love. And he did. And I think I'm just so thankful. And I think we always say this. Oh, I always say this to Timmy. Like, if my boyfriend had come into my life 2 years earlier, I would not have been able to steward the relationship at all, because I was not like ready. And I think, yeah, God is just so good, and his timing is so good, and there's been so much freedom that comes in forgiveness. Anyway, we hope you've enjoyed
this episode.
Yes. And we love you, and we are thinking about you, and we are praying for you, and we are hugging you virtually. And if you ask Timmy for money, she'll send it to you. And let us know if you need anything, because we're here for you. Love you so much. Have the best week.
Bye.